Hi friends, and welcome back to AmandaMuse. So, second week, second video. I'm on a roll here, people. Today I want to share with you my labor and delivery story. And again, I'm standing, so I'm going to be swaying a little bit because I have a little pipsqueak sleeping right here. I just love baby wearing. Have I told you guys that before? I seriously love it. It's probably one of my favorite things. I wear them until they get too bloody heavy to wear. You know what I'm saying? I will try to keep this short and sweet because these videos can be quite lengthy. So I will try my best to get to the main points and to get to them quickly. But where I left off with you guys was my week 40 update, which I can link below if you're curious. And yeah, so it was week 40. Now to be honest, I actually did get to 41 weeks because I was 10 days overdue. I've spoken to my doctor and we had agreed that 10 days was the maximum amount of time that he was going to give me overdue. The thing was that we said, okay, since I was attempting a VBAC, we couldn't do too much of an induction, but he did say that should I be somewhat starting to progress on that day, so 10 days past my due date, that he would give me a little bit of Pitocin, or I guess is it kind of like a Pitocin, that pill you put up on your cervix to kind of get things moving, should I be somewhat on the way. I did everything in those 10 days that you could do to induce labor. Walked, bounced on the ball, used the essential oils. I drank a bag, a giant bag of red raspberry leaf tea. I did everything. But at the end of the day, everything tells you the baby comes when they're good and ready. And he just wasn't coming. So what we did is 10 days past my due date, which was March 5th, we packed my bag and got everything ready. The baby was coming one way or another on that day. So we packed everything and we made it to the hospital. I was totally stressed out and totally nervous because I knew that there was the potential I was going to have a second C-section. I was really scared about that. And there was also the other side of it where you're like, well, if I don't have a C-section, I'm going to go through labor, and I'm also scared about that. It can be a scary thing. And I know there's all this birth without fear and blah, 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 but it's still a little bit scary. Do you know what I mean? So it was good that Jack was late because then my in-laws were here and they had got acclimatized with the jet lag, and Esme was used to them by the time we went to the hospital. So it was a stress-free experience in terms of leaving Esme with them. So we made it to the hospital bright and early on Wednesday morning, and he did an internal exam, and I was closed up shop. I just had this feeling that nothing was happening. I don't want to get too TMI here because my dad watches these videos, but I didn't have any additional showing. There was nothing was happening. I did have a ton of Braxton Hicks, so much so that I thought maybe something was happening, but they slowed down significantly in those last 3 days or whatever it was before I had him. So nothing was happening. And I must say that I was really at peace with the fact that I had given my body, a really good try. Do you know what I'm saying? 10 days past my due date. I mean, there's people that go up to 39 weeks when they have a second C-section, and I was at 41 weeks. So this baby was cooked, We all agreed, my husband, myself, and the doctor, that a C-section would be the best solution. I mean, he was you could go a little bit longer, but honestly by that point it was just listen, nothing's happening. I was kind of thinking maybe things happen for a reason and that this was just the plan for me, and I was ready to accept it. Embrace it, I should say, not just accept it. Then they started the prep for the surgery, filled out some paperwork. They shaved my belly, which was weird, and various other places. And then they basically gave me my hospital gown, which is really cute purple. I was I'm liking this color, I can wear purple. The things that you think about on the day of the surgery. Posted a photo to Instagram, and I got so much love from so many people so quickly that it gets me emotional. Oh my god, I didn't realize I was going to get so emotional. Weird. But I got so much love from you guys, from my viewers on my Instagram, that I was I got this. I was saying in so many videos leading up to the birth, I got this. This was kind of my saying. And you guys started saying that back to me, you got this, Amanda, you can do it. And I felt super empowered. So to all of you guys that did that. So then we got everything ready, and my husband and the doctor were discussing my room, so when I came out of the surgery, where I was going to be and blah blah blah. And I got a little bit stressed out because there wasn't a room ready. How to stress out a woman who's about to have a C-section? Tell her that. I was where am I gonna go after they have the baby? But it all turned out in the end. Anyways, so one thing I was really excited about, which I probably told you before, was that my husband didn't get to be with me for the birth of my daughter Esme because it was an emergency C-section, and in Malaysia they don't let the husband into the operating theater when it's an emergency. And I was really nervous about that for this one. I thought, my goodness, we're probably only gonna have 2 babies, and I really want him to see at least one of them, be born. So when we decided to have, you know, the elective C-section, I knew my husband was going to be there, and I was super excited about that. So when they prepped me, like, I was feeling a little bit nervous, but I wasn't that nervous because I knew he was going to be there with me holding my hand together. Then once I was prepped, they quickly wheeled me into the, I guess it's pre-op. And I was a little bit like surprised, I must admit, because I don't remember any of this from my first C-section because it was an emergency, and it was literally like she's having a C-section and Esme was born. It felt like 10 minutes later. So when you have an elective, everything is way more relaxed, way more chill. It was a completely different experience. And you're just kind of laying there waiting. That was really uncomfortable because I had a giant baby in my belly, and so I was kind of laying on my side. But any of you ladies who have been 41 freaking weeks pregnant plus 3 days, because I was 41 plus 3, 7, you know, 10 days past my due date, you can't lay on your back. I have like 12 pillows to sleep with. Okay, maybe not 12, but you know what I'm saying. So that was really uncomfortable. And then things like started to happen. So they came over and they put the IV in, and they put it, actually I still have a little scar from it here. But they come and they put the IV in, which I started to get really nervous because it was like, oh my God, it's really happening. And you can't get away from it. It's kind of hard to explain. It's like I wanted to run away, but I knew that this baby needed to come out, and then it was pretty routine surgery. It's like all this mix of emotion, you know? But then what happened is the anesthesiologist came over, and when I was super excited because I remembered him from my surgery with Esme, and he was one of the bright shining stars kind of thing in my surgery, in my memory of it. He held my hand. I was really nervous. As I said, my husband wasn't there, and I just remember his face, and he was so kind. And anyway, so when I saw him, I started to relax a little bit because it kind of felt like once they wheeled me into the pre-operating area, the tears just were like pouring. I wasn't like the big scary cry, but the tears just, I couldn't stop them. I was crying, I was nervous, my husband wasn't there. I was just like, okay, get me into the operating theater so that he can come in, you know what I mean? I was laying there, what felt like eternity, but it was probably maybe 45 minutes or so. And then I saw my doctor out of the corner of my eye, and he is just such a jovial person, and I was like, okay, I can do this, right. I remember what I'm here for. Like, it's not a scary surgery. You're having a baby. It's a very positive and happy thing. So shortly after, I saw him kind of getting ready, and I was like, oh, it must be my turn. They told me it would be about 10:30 or so that they were gonna wheel me into the room, or that the surgery would start. At this point, I've been at the hospital for 2 hours. So I got to the hospital for 8:30, and now it's 10:30, and I'm being wheeled into the operating room. So I got in there, and the doctor obviously not there yet, but the nurses and them are taking good care of me, and they put me onto the bed, and then they gave me the epidural. And I was really nervous, but I did remember that it didn't hurt from the first time. But it's just, you know, it's scary because you're thinking, I really hope this works. You hear horror stories from people who have experienced terrible things with an epidural, but I was like, don't worry, it worked the first time, it'll be fine. So, you know, they give me the pillow, and I lean over with the nurse. She's like, don't move. The nice thing this time around, I wasn't having contractions, so didn't have to worry about that part of it. I got the epidural, and then I slowly, you know, they lay you down, and then I slowly started to feel my legs go, and then this sense of panic came over me, and I feel like I'm gonna cry. Damn it, tears just come. So I haven't, by the way, I'm probably getting really emotional because, to be honest, I haven't actually shared this story verbatim with anyone in a very, like, 6 weeks, so bear with me. But I started to feel this sense of panic, like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, like, he's fine, he'll come out on his own later, like, just get me out of this room. But you kind of like, it's like when you're about to go on a roller coaster and you're going up like the big scary incline, and you're like, no, I decided I don't want to do this, but there ain't no turning back. I just had to keep reminding myself why I was in there, which I think any woman going through labor probably hits a moment like that where you're like, this sucks, the contractions, the pain, and you have to remember like why you're doing this and that there is a prize at the end. The IV kicked in, the anesthesiologist looked at me and said, tell me if you start to feel nauseous, and I had an oxygen mask on, and it was like within a second. Oh, I said, I think I'm gonna be sick, and then he gave me something in my IV and it stopped completely, so that was cool. By that point, then I felt fine. I was like, okay, just breathe. The tears were still like trickling. It felt like a hose was just pouring, you know, slow drip down the eyeballs here. And so yeah, so then the nurses everyone was just really sweet. And then I must admit, by that point, I hadn't noticed, but there was this really nice music playing on the radio in the background, and my doctor had his soft rock on, and I just started to like smile and go, okay, I got a really good team of people who are working with me to get this little boy out. So I started to chill out a little bit. So by that point, my doctor was getting himself ready for the surgery, and then I felt like he started working on me, and I was like, hey, wait a second, my husband's not in here yet. I said, I asked about twice, is my husband coming? And then finally my doctor said, yeah, he's coming in right now. I have to do this to you guys, but I think I might have to do a two-parter because I'm getting interrupted left, right, and center, and I'm losing the light. So rather than waste all the stuff I just filmed, I'm gonna share with you basically what happens next. So in part 2, so once the husband comes in the room, and we'll go from there. Sorry to leave you hanging, but motherhood calls. I will speak to you guys in the next video. Bye. Say hi. You just had a little meltdown, but what do you have to make it better? Lollipop?
Yes.
Show the camera your lollipop. Ooh, that's yummy. It's strawberry. Does it taste good?
Yum.
Yum.
It's strawberry.
That's
And
it.
I not see it.
No, you've never seen that one before, have you? This takes a whole new meaning to baby wearing. I've got one on the front and one on the side. Kind of heavy. Can I put you down?